Is this anybody's first time in Indian Valley? Okay.
Oh, hi, you guys. Sorry, man, I was doing the whole unmute thing. My name's Larry. I'm an alcoholic.
What's up, Larry?
Hey, Larry. Welcome.
Welcome. Keep coming back.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. I'm an alcoholic. It's my first time here.
Excellent.
Hey, Gabrielle.
Hello,
Gabrielle. Welcome.
Keep coming back.
Bring a friend. I encourage all the newcomers to stay on afterwards and get some phone numbers if you'd like. I'm sure people will be willing to hand out their numbers, so please do so if you'd like. And is anybody celebrating an A anniversary?
It's Larry again. 120 days yesterday.
Yes.
All right, Larry.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Very good. Well, we all have today. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? Cricket. All right. Our group has its business meeting on the third Friday of the month following the meeting. If you'd like to join us, please. Make this your home group. Please attend our business meeting. Service is an excellent way, great way to stay sober. Okay. I did not prepare myself. Does anybody have the top, the traditions at hand? Could read the tradition for January?
Yes,
I
can read it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir. We were jumping on there, Nick.
You got it, Ann. Go ahead.
Which tradition? January, right?
Tradition one.
January.
January. Okay, tradition one. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity.
All right.
Yay.
Hey, what's Spider-Man's favorite month? Webuary. Anyway, my name is Nick. I'm an alcoholic, and
What up, Nick?
Service is an excellent way to stay sober, and that was something that my recovery lacked. In early recovery or just in introduction to AA, I just didn't realize that triangle service is a big part of it. So I have with me here my sponsor and friend Ron. I'm not going to do a long intro. I just asked him to talk about something. I don't know what it's going to be. So here's Ron.
Hey, cool. Nice. I'm unmuted. Hi, my name's Ron. I'm an alcoholic.
What up, Ron?
What up? Hey, it's good to see. Hey, it is good to see everybody. I'm broadcasting from a undisclosed location in the Witness Protection Program. So forget this image that you're looking at. Anyway, no, it's nice to be here. I just think funny things. But I've been speaking so much, like doing so much AA. I was saying to my wife, man, I got like AA overdose. Last night we did a big book study. Today chaired and in person these are the noon expected miracle, which was a topic meeting, which which is good because all I got to do is introduce this topic, speak for 5 minutes, and then I can just let the meeting run. And Nick said to me, hey, can you speak on a topic? So I'm thinking, okay, 5 minutes, I'm out of here. I call him tonight. He said, oh, you got to speak for half hour. I'm like, more speaking, right? But anyway, it's a dead I.O. Hopefully I'll say something. I don't know. Maybe it gets something out. Maybe I'll just say, I'm glad I'm not that guy. I think funny things. Are you guys like me? Like Larry's, it was Larry, he said he's got, 120 days? And I remember one time saying, that was yesterday, correct? And I remember being in a meeting, and put my hand up. This is a long time ago. And I said, I got 90 days yesterday. And they all clapped. I go, but I got 0 today. And they all looked at me. They didn't know what to say. But I just think funny things of alcoholism, recovery, and what a journey, And so hopefully I can just share some stuff. It was good to see Maggie for a minute, Maggie Misama. Those luscious red lips, we could see them back here.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Could everybody please mute their phones? If you need to mute your phone, please mute your phone. Thank you.
Get feedback from that.
Your computer device. Thanks.
Yeah, anyway, so where was I? I don't know. The beautiful thing about AA is that we share our experience, strength, and hope, and it's pretty much going to be the same story as yours. And that's something that I had to learn in AA. I thought I was different. My story was different. The situations were different. I certainly, I get to sponsor people today, and I give them funny labels because it's funny myself. This one gentleman, I call him a special snowflake, and because everybody in AA is a special snowflake. Terminal uniqueness is what almost killed me. Why I was different from everybody else, and my story is so unique and so special that AA and none of this stuff really pertains to me. In fact, if you just give me some time, like you got a violin, let me tell you how sad my life is. And if you had my life, if you had my wife, if you had my upbringing, my childhood, you'd drink too. And that's what I thought. And I had no conception of what an alcoholic is or any idea of it. The simple explanation that I found in Bill's story when he talks about, alcohol, the transition, alcohol ceased to be a luxury, it became a necessity, what describes my alcoholism, because it was fun and games. It was, party to your puke, and that was all beautiful and fun and games until I crossed that line, and then I had to drink, whether I wanted to or not, against my will. And then it became nothing but problems in my life. And so at no time in my life, I remember thinking to myself, I wanted to stop drinking. I don't know who would ever get that thought. And I see people that come in AA and say, I knew I had to stop drinking. No, I knew I had to find a way to get people off my back so I can drink and be left alone. That was truly my solution. I thought the world was against me. They all want me to stop drinking. It's my life. I ain't hurting nobody. Now, I'm also a member of Al-Anon, and it's a very important part of my life, and I see it as a very important part of recovery because I truly don't understand the impact when I get sober. I got a sobriety date, April 15th, 1986. It means absolutely nothing. We put together a lot of days, and they turn into years, they turn into decades, and hopefully it turns into a lifetime. But if I don't die sober, and I've seen this so many times over the years, what use is it to stay sober 5, 10, 20 years, pick up a drink, and then go spend the rest of your life being tortured to death until you finally, you're wishing for death, and then you die. And that's what alcoholism is for me. It's not. I don't worry about or have fear of drinking because I'm going to die. I have a real fear that if I pick up a drink, I will suffer for another 10 or 20 years before I die. And that's what keeps me in Alcoholics Anonymous. And so if you can think back to yourself, I always like to think back to that last, let's say, 6 months, 2 years of drinking, and get a snapshot of that and what motivated you to get into Alcoholics Anonymous, and to have a clean vision of that, bringing that into my sobriety and my life as I go along. It's a big helpful motivator in this program and staying vigilant. And as we sit in meetings and we hear people, and they tell their stories, they bear witness. And it's always the same story. Well, first I stopped, calling my sponsor, then I stopped going to meetings, and then I stopped doing inventory, I stopped praying, and then, blah, 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 blah. And little by slowly, it's like falling asleep behind the wheel of a car. And next thing you know, you're wrapped around a tree, and how'd I get here again? And so we've heard so many of these stories, and not everybody gets an opportunity to get back here. That's the sad reality of it. And I tell that experientially from my family. And I was just talking about this last night that my brother, who was sober 7 years and picked up a drink for 12 years, fought to get back to AA, and now it's actually been 5 years. I can't believe it's been that long. He woke up at 5:30 in the morning, his wife and kids at home, went down the basement, hung himself, took his life, and that's the end result of alcoholism, the ultimate sacrifice, right? I can't escape this. I can't get free of this and just stop the pain and suffering. And so his pain and suffering ended that day, but the family still grieves. It's a great loss. It's catastrophic. And I tell the story of my sister, another example, who spent a decade on the streets of Kensington, and I truly, I never thought she'd ever have a day sober ever in her life. She was that far gone, and I was just hopeless. And her and her boyfriend celebrated 9 years last year. She was going to go on a trip to Florida, gets nervous flying, goes to a doctor. The doctor does his job, writes her a script for Xanax. She takes them, boom, off to the races. So her boyfriend celebrates 10 years, just, I guess it was about 4 months ago. and then next thing you know, he's picked up, and so now the two of them are out there ripping and running, and I get a call. I get my wife. My wife tells me like 4 days ago. She's like, Chris is dead, and my sister's name is Kristen, and sometimes we refer to her as Kristen, and I'm thinking, and she's like, no, Chris is dead, not my sister. And I thought for sure she'd be the first one to go, and he overdosed and died 4 days ago. And so what we do in Alcoholics Anonymous is truly life or death. And I don't know if we're going to have a topic tonight or what we want to talk on or anything, but do you feel the responsibility to put your hand out to the new person, knowing that this may be not the only opportunity, but not to get sober, but to stay sober? And with all this fear going around and all the meetings closing, the ramifications from this are going to be for decades. I mean, the infrastructure and the habit of meetings that people were in and running and how it was running so beautifully smooth wasn't even realized until this was disrupted. And then the whole way people that did, nothing. My life hasn't missed a beat since this all started. I have the most important things. I have a sponsor, a home group. I have a commitment. I have a program. I have a relationship with God. And so my program didn't skip a beat. But the people that didn't have that, like the old saying, meeting makers make it. Yeah, they make it until there ain't no meetings. And then what do? They go crazy, jump off bridges, kill themselves, drink, whatever, go crash and burn. And so the Zoom platform has been, a lifesaver for maybe people that already have a foundation in their sobriety. For the new guy coming in, he needs that one-on-one personal touch. I mean, he needs, I can just see that. It's almost, I made it, we laugh and we have so much fun. Like I make up memes and, got Homer Simpson holding a sign, I got sober on Zoom. And we're going to probably hear some of that stuff in the future where some people actually did get sober on Zoom or were able to stay sober for a period of time or maybe even just stay connected to AA. And hopefully that's our message. My phone number is next to my name up there. I'm easy to find on Facebook. Take advantage of all the numbers. And like Nick said, the meeting after the meeting, the meeting before the meeting, getting here early, talking to people, exchanging numbers, and possibly getting a program, right? And, all I can say is all the things that I thought were important when I got here, I don't think a single one's important today. And I was taught very simply, be a seeker of recovery, make AA the most important thing in your life, and seek this and go after it day in, day out, and you'll live happily ever after. And that's been my experience. As long as I do this, I stay golden, If I drift a little bit and other things become more important, I suffer in sobriety. And that's just me. I'm a real alcoholic. I'm a guy that's, I always tell it, 1986, I show up on the shores of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I have learning disabilities. I have a high school dropout, convicted felon, warrants out for my arrest. I've been shot. I've been jailed. I've been straitjacketed in mental institute for alcoholic insanity. I mean, I'm at the bottom of my world. Owe all kinds of money and nowhere to live. Threw my wife out of my life. I mean, just at the bottom of the world. And they tell me, hey, it's going to be okay. Just stick with us. Keep coming back, and everything's going to work out. And I remember thinking, there's no way in 10 million years that this is ever going to work out for me. I'm too far gone. My life is too far gone. I wasted my entire life, and I got no foundation. And not to mention, this God I don't even believe in hates me. He's done everything in his life to sabotage Ron's life. In fact, I got this image in my head of like a God that stays up all night, like wait till Ron wakes up tomorrow. This is going to be good. And I feel like this, a victim. And I just hate life, and I'm angry and just angry. And I can't even use words to describe how I show up here. So toxic, to the point where if I actually seen myself today sitting in front of me at a meeting, I'd say, yo, put a bullet in this guy's head and do him a favor and get him out of here. He's hopeless. Like, I felt like that. And the transformation that took place a day at a time, slowly going after this, and watching people that have been there before that have a similar story, that just been at the bottom of the world. Now, that doesn't mean if you have none of these external war stories that you're not an alcoholic. That's another problem in AA. You don't have to suffer all this stuff. There's a simple definition for alcoholism. It's the inability to control the amount once I take it, and the inability to stay stopped once I'm separated. And made a firm decision. I'm done. I'm not drinking anymore. And that was my situation. And even when I had to stay sober or else go to jail, I was incapable of doing that on my own power. And that was my experience. So 5 years hanging over my head. If I take a drink, I go back. What happens? I'm an alcoholic. I have the mind of deception, right? It says very simply to me, 2 beers, just 2 beers. And we got a DUI expert in the room. He knows the old just 2 beers type. Yeah, he knows it. It's like it lies to me. He's like, no, you will not drink more than 2 beers, Ron. Maybe 3 because you know you'll go to jail. That's going to stop you, right? And no, not for a guy like me, because after I had those 2 or 3, I said, this is my mindset. I can tell you exactly the way it was. I'll see them in hell. I'll see them when they catch me. And it's usually between 72 hours and like 10 days that somehow I get scooped up in the law. And the beautiful thing about applying these 12 steps to my life as I come in here that I think are really unnecessary to anything to do with not drinking, right? But I haven't had a set of handcuffs on me or arrested for anything in over 34 years, which is a miracle because my track record says I get in trouble like weekly, right? I'm toxic in this world. I haven't got divorced in over 34 years. I live by spiritual principles. I haven't got a moving violation in over 34 years because I drive by spiritual principles. I live every area of my life. I try to apply this program and put it into my life because I have found this way of living has changed the way I show up for my life. That selfish and self-centered mindset, needing external pleasures and material things to complete me, or to say that, hey, I'm enjoying life, or like my life is good, that I need to validate it with material, external things, has left me, and it's gone. And I understand truly that this is an inside job. It's not about anything external, and that was actually what was killing me. And I'm driven in this material world, and this selfishness and self-centeredness that cannot be satisfied needs to be quenched somehow. And I don't know about you, but there was a share today in the meeting. Our big book talks about resentment being the number one offender, and this female alcoholic who presented it so beautiful. She says, when I get resentful, my mouth waters and I get thirsty. And I understand that experientially, because when I start I'm like steam's coming off my head. I need relief from that, and I cannot, once I set my mind in motion with resentment, I just build up speed and replay it until the point where either I want to murder somebody or I need to drink to get this relief. And that's just been my experience. And if it isn't the resentment, then it's the fear I live in, right? The constant state of fear, the paranoia. I had another guy I sponsored. He was funny. This is many, many years ago. But he used to call me up, tell me about, he's like, Ron, helicopters are following me. And he had done something like 25 years prior and owed an amends on it, never made it. But anyway, I'm like, dude, you're not that important. Because I used to have helicopters following me that weren't there, right? And it's funny how we can manufacture this in our head and it becomes real to the point where it consumes us. And if that's been your experience of paranoia, fear, that's something that I've lived with in life. And I had to get free of that. So the only way to get free of these resentments and these fears that I have, that I lack power, these causes and conditions that will drive me back, is this relationship with a higher power. And that's pretty much, I always go to God. Go to God, please. God, please remove my fear. Please remove my resentment. And I've done that for so many times that it just becomes natural. The one, I just put this in a text a couple days ago. It talks about the spiritual axiom. Anytime I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me. That was so important. That was so important to me, not only to read it, to know it, but to internalize it to the point that the minute I get upset, I'm like, why is Bob or Mary or Tom or whatever it is, I don't care what it is, why is anything bothering me? And what is wrong with me that I am bothered by this external thing? So it's a sign that I need to work on the inside, not on changing my outside. Because that's what it looks like. Go do something to rectify this resentment, to take physical action somehow instead of having it resolved and having the resentment removed, the anger removed, and seeing where I can be of service to this person, like the directions send me. And as I do that over and over and over again, a friend of mine, he said it great. He says the only way to get to a place where you don't have to write inventory is to write a lot of inventory. And then it just becomes natural, and it becomes a way you live. And like I said, I talked about memes, and made one with, was it Keanu Reeves with the bullets, where he stops him with his hand, where he's like, you'll know when you're the one, you won't have to dodge bullets. And I wrote on there, work the steps and you won't have to dodge resentments. And I don't have to dodge. I'm not fear of people offending me anymore. I say the three greatest gifts that I've gotten in AA are peace, serenity, and unconditional love for everybody. I no longer, I'm like, what can I add to life? What a beautiful way to live. And instead of being in conflict with everybody, I've just surrendered, because life will kick my butt if I start to fight it, if I swim against the current. It talks about in our book making a decision in step 3, aligning our will with God's. And if I do that and I become a servant and I become liquid, I become free and life is effortless. And I float on my back and I enjoy the journey of life. And it's an amazing way to live if you can get there and if you're willing. It's available to everybody. It took me a series of surrenders. I really had to surrender in every area of my life, especially family members. We all know how challenging that could be. And that's why I need a program in 12 steps in my life, is because of the fact that life on life's terms is way too much for me on my own, by myself, to handle, swallow, and live in. And so I thank each and every one of you for being a part of my life. It's just beautiful seeing each of you and being on this journey. And what we do is, whatever it is, we rally the wagon around whoever might need that at the time. Because each and every person could be me or you. I mean, that's the importance of it. And I don't get anything out of AA if I'm coming here to get it. The only time I get it is when I come to give. And that's something that's so hard to comprehend. As I come here, I walk in the door and I'm selfish and self-centered. They say, get in service. Ron, take a commitment. Do anything. Be a greeter. Cook, make coffee. Clean ashtrays. Whatever it is, get started. So it starts with just a little bit of willingness to take a little bit of action. And as I start to give of myself and I start to become a member of AA, because now I feel like a member because I am taking part, and then I become whole of a couple million people fellowship around the world, and it gets to be very powerful to be connected to everybody. And I can go to any city in any state, any meeting in the world, and walk in the meeting and feel like I'm at home, like, thank God, I'm here with family. My family, I can go on and on and on about the family dynamics of my alcoholic family, and I always say that God, in the one line where he says he provided what we needed if we stayed close to him and performed his work well. And the family that I've always wanted in my family, I found with you guys. My family just isn't capable of reciprocating in my life. And the beautiful thing is that God did provide for me the day I came into AA. So I think, probably if you have an experience, I don't want to take up, we're at the half hour. I could go on forever about AA, but if you've had an experience where you've gotten a connection, your soul was touched in AA, and a transformation where you thought that this was like the worst thing that happened in your life, and then it turned out to be the greatest thing in your life. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear the connections and the relationships and the people that you meet along your way, and are you enjoying sobriety? And then the question is, it's something to put in my inventory. Am I enjoying being sober? Okay? And if not, why not? What sense of self is blocking me? My selfishness is not only blocking me from God, but blocking me from relationship with every other person on the planet. And once I solve that problem, and first I have to identify it, then I solve it by the actions, and then I get connected, and then I no longer feel alone in this world. So use that if you'd like to have a topic. If not, pick up your own topic. And thanks for having me. There's a lot of people here. We'll let you guys share.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for sharing, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, guys.
Ronnie K.
Thank you for that message of hope. There's a great there's a couple great things that I've learned in AA, and one was written by Chuck Chamberlain and said, rarely have I seen a person fail as thoroughly enjoyed their recovery. And I did not enjoy sobriety in the beginning. I didn't want to get sober, and it was family urged me to get sober, and I just pushed them away. Another analogy is like the drowning man, and people are throwing me life rafts, and I just keep pushing away the life preserver, and I'm drowning, and people want to help me, and until I grabbed hold of that and took some action myself, I was just dying. And you touched on so much good stuff. I don't want to take any more time. There's plenty of us here, so I want to turn the meeting over. Meeting's open. Your time to share. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Alcohol Nick.
Oh man, I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Ann.
What's up, Ann Anonymous?
Thank you for speaking tonight, and loved everything that you shared about. I love your positivity. I love the service. And what you touched on with the Zoom, I was a skeptic when it came to Zoom. I still made, face-to-face meetings in Zoom, and a beginner Zoom meeting, I heard this guy share, and he got a year in Zoom the night I was online, and he was so grateful for the group, and it totally changed my whole view of Zoom, and I would have never heard it had I not been there. And I'm really sorry for your loss. You stick around long enough that happens, and it's sad, and I'm sorry. And I'm going to pray for your family and think about them, and it's a tough time. And I've been there. I've had to go to meetings when stuff has happened, and service work has saved my life. AA, I love it. I love my friends. I love living life, and I love helping people. I couldn't have said that 12 years ago, but, it happened when it happened, and been through some tough shit, and I'm sober, and it's awesome. It is the number one thing going on, and everything else is secondary. So I'm glad, I'm sober and here tonight. So thank you so much. And congratulations on your time. Somebody had 120 days. Was it 120? Anyhow, congratulations. That's all I have.
Thanks, Ann Anonymous.
Thanks, Ann Anonymous. Thanks.
Thanks, Ann.
So my name's Mickey. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey,
Mickey.
Hello, everybody. Larry, congrats on the 120, man. That's great stuff. Nick, thanks for stepping up and being of service, my friend. Ronnie K, it's always a pleasure to see you. I do miss seeing you in person. And I do pray for you and your family, but that's just because they have to put up with you, man. I just got to put up with you a couple hours a week, and it's cool, man. A couple messages every morning, I'm good, man. I get my Ronnie K fill. But I say that jokingly, but, it's things like that being a service that help us on a daily basis. You said so many wonderful things. So many things that, I was taught when I came into this program. I never thought I would say that September 16th, 2012, when I got arrested for my 4th DUI was the best day of my life, but it was. Because all the fighting was over. It was done. And I never thought I was going to have fun in here. The first meeting I walked into that I wanted to walk into, a guy was celebrating 27 years or 24 years. I was like, 24 years. What? But, it is just another day. My time doesn't mean anything more than somebody that's got, 8 days. But, we have today. And if I do something about it, I love how you that word seek. About my willingness to seek this out on a daily basis, right? That's what it's about. And when I do those things and I'm dependent, the only thing I'm dependent on is my higher power. I got nothing to worry about, man. And you said the 3 best gifts it gave you was peace, serenity, and unconditional love. So let me just paint you a little picture real quick. Mickey, when he's a drunk, is not a fighter. He's a lover. And I'm really fat and sweaty and hairy. So I look like a sweaty polar bear chasing you, licking you, trying to kiss you and tell you how we're going to be friends forever, right? Like, I loved everyone. But when I came into this program, like, I hated people, right? You know, like, but I was told that I had to love everybody. I don't have to like you, but I got to love you. And I have that now. And it, you know, I mean, I was just talking yesterday to a sponsee about, who am I to judge anyone? And if someone wants to judge me, good. Go waste your time on that, you know? Like, I'm just an alcoholic trying to get another day. And there's so many great principles in this program, you know? So here you are, Ron, getting sober in 86. I get sober in 2012, and it's still the same principles, right? I mean, you know, you go through this book, it's not difficult. We make it difficult, you know, and it is a wonderful thing. And, you know, the last thing I'll touch on is the whole Zoom thing. And look, everyone's got their own concerns, right? Maybe you can't do in person because you got family members that are at risk that live with you. You know, maybe you can't, you know, get into the Zoom thing because you don't like how you look on camera. Like, I don't know. But when we got sober, we had to change everything. And COVID changed it. So now we got to continue to seek a way to make this work. And you're right, Ron. My sobriety didn't skip a beat. You know, my sobriety is not dependent on my sponsees. It's not dependent on how good my day goes. My recovery and days are dependent on, am I depending on God, am I relying on God, and am I being of service? You know, and I got to find my way. I got to make that work however I can if I want to stay sober. And look, you know, it's 8:38 at night, man. I got 3.5 hours left to make it one more day. And God willing, I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to try and do it again. You know, because of Zoom, because of in-person, you know, and I love all you guys. I can't believe, I mean, my computer screen's full right now. I'm not used to seeing this many people, so I appreciate you all coming out to hear me speak. I thank you so much. My name's Mickey. I'm an alcoholic. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Mickey.
Thanks for speaking.
Mickey.
Could I throw something out here?
Whatever you want, Larry.
I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic.
What's up, Larry?
Larry.
Hey.
Also wanted to congratulate Gabrielle. She's celebrating a anniversary today too. Didn't want her to feel left out. It's another thing that for me, being early on in sobriety, I'm reading this book. It's called A Program for You. It's sort of like a guideline, a study book for the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. And something in there really struck home for me because I could relate to it. It was RID, restless, irritable, and discontent. Those are like 3 signs for me that I want to stay away from because in the past, those attitudes have took me out drinking again. Particularly it kind of boils down to the ethics, and that's a bad spot for me to be in. This time around, it's I got a good sponsor who's really working me, walking me through the steps, and he's instilled in me, and it's easy for me to believe, and it's easy for me to follow, that the steps are the route to recovery. That was what they did back in the 30s. We're fortunate now to have so many meetings. They didn't have that many meetings back then. They had the steps. They had the seeking of the connection with the higher power. And not every day is great, and it's supposed to be that way. Some days are challenging. It's supposed to be that way. For me, it builds perseverance. And perseverance has got to help me stay clean. I come to these meetings and I really appreciate them because particularly new guys come in, such as myself, and they're green. They say just how bad it was, man. Just how nasty and ugly it was when I was using, when I was drinking. Right now, I'm keeping my memory green in that respect because that really helps me stay sober. I see stuff on TV. People are partying, having a great time, and, all these beautiful people are doing this and that. And I'm thinking like, wow, I want that too. But that wasn't like my life. My life was not a party like that. My life was mostly drinking alone, throwing up, not being able to do anything, was completely dysfunctional because I was so drunk all the time. The insanity to even think to put another drink in my body, I mean, that's the horrifying, insidious part of this disease, is that, it's only a short walk away. That's why it really helps me a lot to remember how great it is. And Ron, my heart goes out for you, bro. I mean, those are like horror stories, man. It's just terrible, man. But it's also a grassroots, down and dirty example of how deadly this disease is. We have a terminal disease. Wrap your head around that. This stuff is going to kill us. And like you said, it doesn't kill us slow. I mean, it doesn't kill us fast. It kills us slow. Slow and ugly and mean. And I'm so, today, not a great day, but I'm grateful right now. I'm grateful that I'm sober because you know what? I could be out on the streets. And it's cold out there. People are dying out there. It's an epidemic. Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing, Larry.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Hey, Larry. This is Scott, alcoholic.
What up, Scotty?
Miss you all. Thanks, Alcohol Nick, for your service, and Ron, so good to hear your share. I love your texts every morning. I really need to hear this tonight. I'm really grateful to be here. The reminder of this disease is out. It will kill us. And the invitation to ask to do inventory, to see where I've been, where I'm selfish, like if I'm irritable and discontent. Like, where is it? Am I going to meetings? Am I reaching out? Over the pandemic, I haven't been going to a lot of AA meetings. I've been going to other types of recovery and support meetings, a lot of them. And I was talking to someone today that's a friend of the program, and they're like, yeah, I'm not okay with that you're not going to AA meetings. You need to start going to AA meetings again. And that's what I need to hear. And it was really good. And that's why I'm here. And because we don't, in AA, well, one of the things I've heard in AA, and I haven't experienced it yet. I mean, I've experienced parts of it in the 5 years of not picking up alcohol. I've been sober from alcohol. Is like the freedom, the fear not being present as much. It really is for me at times, and I know why, because I prioritize other things, material things, validation things. Things are going very well in my life in a pandemic, materially. And when I prioritize those things over the steps, over the program, over the reaching out, that's what's going to be there, because that's the thing. The fear is the thing about why I picked up at 19 and drank alcoholically till 35 And the person who basically said, hey, that's not cool, you're not going to AA, even though you're going to these other support group meetings, recovery meetings today. He said, he said something like, the thing about us alcoholics is, like I was saying, yeah, I could drink a bottle of vodka. Like normal people, eventually their body rejects that, throws up. There's like a physiological response to that doesn't let it consume that much. But for me, like that's just what I do. I would drink until I black out. And I appreciated, what I needed to hear from Ron was, because I relate to that. Like for me, if I were to pick up again, I think it would be like 10, 20 years of a slow death. And that would be devastating and really selfish. And for all the things God's given me and the family. So I'm here to tell myself a little. I'm also here to say I'm happy to connect with people who want to connect, who related to any of that, and read Big Book with people. And that's it. I'm out.
Good to
We
see
love you,
Scott.
Scotty.
Scott, good stuff. Thank you.
Sharon, Scott.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. I can share.
Hi, Gabrielle.
Hi, Gabrielle.
Congratulations.
Hi, Gabrielle.
Thanks. I was thinking about something that Ron had said when he was sharing in the beginning, which is about how, some people can go to the in-person, which I've been fortunate enough to be able to do. And then some people can only go to the Skypes. And, I am so grateful for both because I've been able to attend like 3 meetings a day. And, even if if I'm participating and focusing, and sometimes, I'll listen to one that's recorded while I'm doing my dishes or folding my laundry, just to continually have, the mindset of AA throughout the day. And I honestly hope that when this pandemic is finally over, which who knows when that will be, but I hope that we'll learn from the Skypes and maybe even continue them, because normally, to be able to physically go to a meeting is very important, and I would go once a day, but I tended to compartmentalize my sobriety. Like, this is my AA time, and then this is my work time, and this is my kids' time, and this is my other time, and that, as my sponsor says, isn't necessarily practicing these principles in all of my affairs. I need to bleed the lines. And by having access to jump on a meeting at any time, it's been so incredibly beneficial. Like when I spend time with my kids and then they go back to my ex-husband, sometimes that's a vulnerable time for me, because I'm alone. They just left. It's quiet. I'm in my head. That would be a time when I would send the kids back and I go straight for the bottle. And now I go straight to a meeting because there's always one available that I could jump on my computer or my cell phone and have that access in real time. And it's such a gift. And I hope that we will be able to continue these into the future, because I know that I've certainly found tremendous benefit in that. I do like having the balance. I do like going in person. There's nothing like, being there in person for me. But this certainly has been an enormous benefit that I've really enjoyed. I don't know, it's just something that I wanted to bring up because we always are hearing how much we're missing the in-person, but I just think that this is a wonderful tool that I think that it would behoove us all, it would behoove me at least, to try to continue to find these. And I don't know about you guys, but I have so much fun. Like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep, and I'll find a meeting that's like in Scotland. And it's really cool to listen to everyone and their brawls and everything. And they're like, I'm in a meeting in Scotland, and that's really cool. So I have fun with stuff like that. And if it hadn't been for this time period, that may not have been an opportunity. So, I try to find the silver lining in all of these things and make the most of it while it's here. So, anyway, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabrielle.
Thanks for sharing. Good stuff.
Hey, Gabrielle, thanks for sharing. And are you celebrating an anniversary?
Not really. I don't think, Larry, I don't think you were referring to me, right? I can't hear you.
No, I thought I heard somebody say they had like another 100 days or something like that.
Oh, thank you. That wasn't me.
Okay.
So I was confused. But thank you all.
Sure.
Hey, I have today, so congratulations for me for today. And all of you too.
We all have today.
We all have today.
One time I was in a meeting and I said, tomorrow I'll have 90 days. And this old timer said, "You ain't got it yet, kid. Keep coming back." And he yelled at me, and I was like, ah.
Was that Ron that yelled at you?
Nah, it was just a old timer.
Ron's not a real old timer. Ron's legacy.
This is before I knew Ron. Man, you guys make it an awesome meeting. Anybody else want to share? We still got a few more minutes.
Hi, I'm Teresa. I'm an alcoholic.
What's up, T-Money?
We'll see if I can share without my puppy going ballistic. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Ron, for your story. I feel like I've been transcended like over and over again in sobriety, and most recently, like, I had struggled with time, like with serious time, and I was struggling. Like, I went through grief, and oh man, and when I moved to Bucks County, like, I was not in good shape. I wasn't like in a position that like I really should have been moving. I knew when I was moving it wasn't going to be a good thing, and when I got here, it was really bad. And I was in this crazy situation where like I couldn't get to meetings, like I was so far from God. There were so many things happening, and like for but a few years, like if you would have talked to me, I would have had like vomit of the mouth and like, can you believe this is happening to me? And when I finally was ready to recover again and be relieved of all of that, like I found my home group and I found my sponsor, and when I met my sponsor, I cried to her. I said, I'm never going to get back what I had. And she said, maybe it'll be different. And, what I found in doing this work all over again and helping other people, that like, I am so much freer than I ever thought that I was, that I have so much peace, that I have so many negative things that have been removed from my life. And, if you would have met me even like a year or two ago, I would have said like, I moved my entire life and my career and my family to like Bucks County for this, like it would have been this whole thing. And like, and now it's like, I'm here. This is where I live. This is where my home is. And like, I got restored to sanity here. I found God here. Like, like I found inner peace here. And like, it's just absolutely amazing, like the way it works. And, it's not what I planned. It is absolutely not what I planned, but like my life is so good and it's so beautiful and it's so peaceful. And just to like live without insecurity and fear and resentment and like all this toxic shit is just like, it's so nice to just go to sleep every night and be peaceful. And, I was even thinking that Indian Valley is the first open discussion meeting that I had been to, like in a few years from when I moved from Lehigh Valley to Bucks County. And, I had only been going to 1 hour speaker meetings, which I loved. And I was establishing connections with people, but I was honestly a little bit afraid to go to an open discussion meeting because, there's some meetings that you don't hear a message of hope and recovery. And number one, if we go to a meeting and we don't hear one, then I need to bring a message of hope and recovery and find somebody to help. But I was so afraid that I was going to show up and it was going to be gossip and this and that. And I just was so afraid to lose what I had newly acquired. And, but what I found, in this meeting was there is a tremendous, message of hope and recovery and really good people. And, but that was, just another little way that my sobriety was transcended, that I was afraid of the meeting and I had come to make some really good friends. And even people just like you were saying, Ron, like family, I may not even have your phone numbers and I may not even talk to you on a daily basis, but just to see you, all of you, is to love all of you. So, so thank you for sharing, Ron. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks,
Thank you, Marty.
I'm truly unprepared. My name is Nick. I'm an alcoholic, but if someone could, who has access to the promises, get those ready to read. And,
I got them.
I forgot to read my morning reflection today, and I popped it open January 22nd. The human heart, in its perversity, finds it hard to escape hatred and revenge. This program promises many rewards for those who follow it, but does not promise to be easy. We search our conscience for resentments and face them. No man can progress in his recovery while holding on to resentments, old angers, and hatreds. When we hold on to them, we protect dark corners of our souls from the renewal we need. As we allow ourselves to be made through this program, we no longer reserve those small corners for the game of power and resentment. They will eventually consume us and justify in our minds a return to old patterns. Nothing can be held back. We must be willing to surrender all, even if we do not know how. No one can stop being resentful simply by deciding to stop. We are willing to be honest, to be humble, to be learners, to be led in a constructive direction, to allow time to be guided rather than seek instant cure. Then we will learn, trust, and will surely make progress. I just think that it's funny how I'll open up a book, and read something and just bang, it hits you with just what's going on and what we were talking about tonight about resentment, number one offender. And it was an awesome meeting. You guys made it great. And who has the promises?
I do.
Oh,
hi, I'm Brian. I'm an alcoholic.
Brian.
What up, PT?
We are painstaking about this phase of our development. We will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises?
We think not.
We think not.
We think not.
They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thanks for reading.
Thank
you.
Good
job, BT.
Thanks for the invite. Good stuff.
Don't come back.
What?
Here, I'll leave you with this quote real quick. One of my wife's favorites. She says, "You got to be a sticker and a stayer, not a keep coming backer."
That's cute.